Hello, my name is Robert Waite. I'm an Acumatica developer MVP who is working for Repay. I've just gotten started with the Test SDK. I've hit some struggle points following the documentation. And I want to do this video to help somebody who may experience the same in the future and just give them a little bit of context that I found was missing in terms of myself being able to understand some of this stuff. So without further ado, let's get started and do this Test SDK. So we are working on with the SDK readme file. I am going to point out how to get this. We're going to start with the prerequisites here and bang through the prerequisites. So I do already have an instance of Acumatica installed that I want to use. You've probably all worked with Acumatica and installed that. So I'm just going to skip that part there. The next section discusses downloading the Acumatica Test SDK. So it gives you this link here. However, I'm going to give you an easier link to remember, and that's builds.acumatica.com. So we'll go to builds.acumatica.com, and it brings you to the same place. So as you can see, that link there is pretty much the same thing as what's in the document. Builds.acumatica is far easier to remember. So I suggest highly recommend committing that to memory because it's just going to be useful for you in the future. So I am going to work with the latest version of the SDK for 21R1. So we'll go into that folder and we'll find the Test SDK folder here, and then we're going to go ahead and download. And there it is. So I'll just bring it out here. Let's go ahead and extract that. There's our folder, and there's that document that I'm reading. So you will find this document in every version of the Test SDK that you download. So it's nice and convenient there for you. So I'm going to put this in its final destination, which is going to be Test SDK. All right, it is there. All right, so next, what's our next step here? All right, so let's go ahead and open and create a new project. So we'll open up Visual Studio. And we're going to opt to create a new package. All right, and what we want is a console app in .NET Core. Make sure you don't select this. That's the Visual Basic version of it. You definitely want to use the C# version of this. So I will select that, hit next, and we're going to call this tests. there's our package, or our project, I should say. And what do we have next here? Okay, so let's have a look at the document. All right, so we've gotten here so far. All right, so we get to two in Visual Studio, add package folders from your Test SDK as a NuGet source. So there's a bit of context missing here. So first of all, what it's asking for is we're going to be creating a package source named local, and we're going to point it to that a folder within that download that we have. So let's have a look at that folder, and within there we have this folder called packages. So these are NuGet packages. So this allows you to install via NuGet any packages with these file extensions. So we're going to need those for this this step. So I'm going to grab that that path, and to get to that place, we're going to go to Tools and Options, and then we go to NuGet Package Manager. Now I already have one there, so let's pretend like it's not there. So we're going to hit the plus, and then we're going to call this local, and we're going to just drop in that folder that has those NuGet package extensions. All right, so now at this point, it's going to then next ask you to add package references to the tests project. So it wants execution, and it wants this GeneratedWrappers.Acumatica. So to do that, we're going to right-click on the dependencies, go to Manage NuGet Packages, and at this point there's nothing in here, or there is, but you're going to have a hard time finding that. So over in the package sources, I'm going to uncheck this first, because more often than not you're probably going to have that unchecked when you start. So we're going to select local. So remember, we called that that source local, so that allows us to select it in this drop down here. So now we have just the files that we want, but note that we also have this generated wrappers that we want to add as well, and it explicitly says enable pre-releases. So we're not going to see that unless we check this box, and now that it's checked, you can see that it pops up. So let's go ahead and install these. Hit install here. All right, that looks good. And so this one, I was getting some errors trying to install this at first. I don't think it's going to error out at this point. It's probably going to install just fine. But I'm going to talk to those, and I want to see what happens if I uninstall it. Let me try to install it again. Okay, it went through fine. All right, so let me talk to that error that I got. Let me find it. Okay, so this was the error. So it would say unable to find metadata of generated wrappers.Acumatica dot such and such. So what you need to do to get past that error is you need to get this version, and we need to rename the file that's in here. So notice that this is the only one in here that doesn't have these file extensions on there, or version extensions. If we drop this in here, I would essentially get this error to go away. So once you've installed a package by that name, it remembers it, hence the reason I'm not getting the error now at this point. What I've also noticed is if you attempt to install a different version, you'll also get some issues if you don't rename that file. So let me talk to that there. So what I would see is there would be a little warning icon up in the corner, just a little yellow warning indicator, and it would say something along the lines of it found something similar to use, but it's not the exact file. So what you do want to do in those cases where you're installing a different version is you want to right click on it, remove it, and then make sure that the file name has the version number within it, and then try to reinstall it again, and that will make that error go away. All right, so next up in this is we're going to add this line to the program. So I think I got an easier reference here in my notes. So I'm going to grab that. And we're going to change that whole. So we're going to change that to that there. All right, so that gets you past that. What I'm going to do is take one step further, and we're gonna generate these extension classes for the. So what this is it's a code generation application that essentially assesses your Acumatica instance, and then it's going to automatically write code for you to use in your test applications. So I'm going to walk through that utility with you in this session here. So it is kind of along the lines of the prerequisites. So let's go ahead and find, I was there. Class generator is what we're looking for. So in order to use this, you need to change up some of the properties within the config file. So let's go ahead and open this up with all right, so we open that up with Notepad or whatever your favorite utility is that you want. So I have some notes here. I'm setting this up. So the instance that I want to point at is at this directory. Let's just reach out and touch that there. Okay, so that's going to be the folder that has the bin information in it and the rest of your Acumatica instance files. The next line, we're going to specify the output directory. So in here, you're essentially telling the class generator where to put the output files. I'm going to keep admin as the same. And finally, we're going to change the file name filter. So the instructions are specifying all of these screens here. And what we want to get in here is a comma separated variable list with that there. So I also have that in my notes. All right, we're going to save that file. And then what we can do is we can execute that that file. So if we go back to it's that program there that we want to execute. So I'm actually going to do this through a Powershell prompt. So we want to get to that directory there. So we're going to cd into Test SDK. And I just typed in the first two letters, TE, then hit tab twice. So notice we have tab completion here. So first tab found temp. If I hit it again, it's going to find the Test SDK. So really useful thing about the PowerShell prompt is using the tab. It's equivalent to IntelliSense that you're familiar with in Visual Studio. And that's the version that I want, and we also want to get into the class generator. All right. So now we should just be able to fire off that so you do have to be patient here. The first file takes a little while. So you're going to sit here thinking that nothing is happening when indeed it is. So what I'm also going to be doing here, just be cautious of everybody's time, is fast forward this. So the time is now 4:25. So shy of 2 minutes have elapsed before we started seeing this stuff on the screen. But as you can see, we're getting some indication that something is working. All right, now we're back to our prompt, so we know that the process is done. We go and have a look at that output directory that we had. We'll see that we have C# files in those directories. So we can now bring those into our project. So let's go ahead and add a new file, folder I should say, and we'll call it extensions. I want to make sure that I have that spelled right. All right, and then we'll right click on there, go to add existing item. Then we can navigate to an output directory. Then we got to go into each of these folders and then add each of these files. And then you repeat that process for each of the folders. You can hold down Shift and Control to select multiple files, so make sure you use that as well to save a little bit of time. All right, so I don't think you guys need me to walk through adding those references, but I do want to point out one last discovery that I had in context of this. So I did have an easier time going through some of this stuff a couple of years ago when I first looked at the Test SDK stuff. I didn't really get a chance to iron it all out. I ended up using contract-based API for automating stuff and testing via that route, but we want to definitely look at Test SDK this time around and make sure that we're using this here. But if we look at the documents that we have, we see that we have 121 pages in here. But I recall having much more detail to work with when I saw it for the first time a few years ago. So I did find that version that I used, and if I open this up, I see that I have 446 pages of material to work through. And it does appear that there is a lot more context being explained within the older versions. So I did have a support ticket open for one of the issues that I had with getting started. They did say that there's going to be more guides coming out in the near future. So by the time you guys read this or watch this, it may already be that there's more information in the most current guides. But since then, I've actually been working off of this older guide, and for the most part, it's working out better. So it does seem to be a little more. It explains a lot more than what the newer guide has. So I wanted to throw that out as well, because that might save you some time by referencing an older guide. All right, well, thank you very much for watching, and hope this helps somebody get started, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.